Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the League of Europe YouTube channel for round 9 of the Formula 2 season. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Carmentalus. I will be taking you through Formula 2 proceedings as always, and as always, joining me in the commentary box for Formula 2 this week is QVR Daka. Daka, how are you doing, mate?
Thank you, Aidan. I'm doing just well. Looking forward to this one yet again. This is LOA, of course, Formula 2 Season 3. This is round 9 of the championship at the Hungaroring in Budapest, Hungary. Looking forward to this one, of course. They call this track Monaco without the barriers. Very technical, very tight. So seeing how it all unfolds here tonight. One of the more challenging circuits on the calendar, so I can't wait to see how the drivers get on.
Absolutely, yeah, brilliant track this one is. Like you say, Monaco without the walls, and I absolutely adore this track. I think just to drive, it is a great track. However, coming off the back of Silverstone, this is, in terms of racing profile, this is a completely different circuit. Obviously, Great Britain with a lot of overtaking opportunities, which was proved to us last week with two amazing races. But Budapest this time round, there's only really one or two overtaking spots on this track, so the dynamic of these two races now are going to be completely different, aren't they?
Definitely. We'll see, of course, how things unfold tonight. But yeah, it's only really turns 1 and 2 that are big time overtaking opportunities with DRS down towards both those corners. Throughout the rest of the lap, a lot of it is quite high speed, and it never really opens up. So it's very difficult to be able to force an overtaking. You're going to be seeing the drivers struggling with that, I think, tonight. But we will see, of course, if they're able to make things happen. We have a good sized grid for tonight. I think 19 drivers ahead of this race. So looking forward to this one. Qualifying first in the feature race. Let's get it started.
Yeah, let's get it started then. So look out today for Budapest. Obviously, with the lesser amount of overtaking opportunities around here, this could be a track where qualifying is the most important. And this season so far, it has been the likes of Totsic, Campbell, and Pease right at the front of the qualifying grid for pretty much every race, and Chill as well. So look out for those drivers to be right at the front of the grid once again. Just before we get going, we'll run you through the top 4 in the standings at the moment. The gaps haven't really changed at the top of the field. Larkin extended his championship lead by 1 point in Britain to 19-point gap now. They're still 70 points clear of Verstappen, who is currently in 3rd place, and it's another 5 points back to Campbell in 4th in the other Trident car. They are now 41 points clear of Chill, who is 5th in the standings after a poor run in Britain last time out. But we're going to go on board with Freak then for a lap around Budapest. He is going to be the person that we ride on board with for qualifying. He heads into turn 1, a very heavy braking zone, best overtaking opportunity on the track, as we've mentioned. Coming out of the corner, very easy to lose traction, don't want to hit the curb on the exit as well, keep it nice and neat, and then down the hill towards turn 2. Very late braking zone this one, because a lot of entries take a bit of absolutely flip the car and hill to and for a little bit of that Freak midway through the corner, a little bit fast and for easy to very cautiously, nice and neat through there, and then into the turn 5, hit the curb on the inside. It can spin you out. It's a little bit of a touch there for Freak, but he gets away with it into the 6 and 7 chicane. Again, another very easy place to invalidate if you take too much soft curb on the inside. Freak keeping it nice and neat. And now to turn 8 and 9. 90-degree corners in this part of the lap. A bit of a bump on this corner as well that can cause you to spin the wheels through the fast kink of turn 10 and into turn 11. A very fast corner, a little bit of a lift off the end once again for Freak, a little bit of understeer mid corner, and now down into the final step. Got a right hander here. Not this corner, the one you really think about, and then into the penultimate corner, downhill braking zone, very easy to lock up and go deep into there, and then coming up towards the very long right hander of the final corner. It's a short lap in total, just under 1.5 minutes to complete a lap here. A lot of mid corner understeer once again from Freak, coming out of the final corner and across the line at the front of the field once again is Totsic, but for the first time really in a long time, Larkin has been able to put his car on the front row of the grid.
We'll see if he can carry that over. Well, of course, got a good race ahead of us, folks. Here we go. Of course, you have Toksic and Larkin, championship rivals, on a relatively rare occasion, rounding off the front row of the grid. The two Tridents slotted behind of Campbell and Verstappen. J. Cole, after a strong debut last time out, continues to impress. He's 5th. XL Ryan joins him on the 3rd row of the grid. Then you have XL Zarawa on the 4th row with Alex. Then you got Freak Frog at 10 rounds out the top 10. Then behind them you have Matrix and Ebo, the last of the drivers that managed to set times. And behind them, my oh my, you have Philippe, Nolan, Pease, Lanto, Chill, Maverick and Killer Blue that were not able to set times. They'll start from the back It's a track that's very easy to corner cut at, and you see evidence of that. You have a full 7 drivers not setting lap times, and they're going to have a lot of work to do come the race.
Definitely, and notable people at the back of the field, Total, Peas and Till, two very, very strong qualifiers. I think in pretty much all the qualifying sessions they've taken part in, they've been near or in about the top 5 on the grid. So to see them at the back of the field on a track that's difficult to overtake at, that is going to be very interesting for this future race. Killer Blue down there as well. We know Killer Blue has very, very good pace in these cars. Lando Norris as well. It's his first race. It's not the real Lando Norris, by the way, for anyone that doesn't know who Lando is. He takes part in Division 2, but he, this is his first Formula 2 race, and we know just from the Division 2 races that he does have good raw speed. So to see him down at the back of the field as well, it'll be interesting to see what he can do in the future race.
Yeah, a lot of drivers disappointed with qualifying, raring to go and try and move up. I'm interested to see what the tyre choices will be ahead of this one. We've seen increasingly in recent weeks that most of the drivers have been opting to go for the softest compounded tyre on offer, but we'll see, of course, what happens here today as now we'll line up going towards the grid there, and we'll see, of course, how everyone shapes up the formation lap in front, and then the feature race. Toxic guys him away, and on a rare occasion, Larkin joins him on the front row. That should be a good one, Aidan.
Yeah, interesting to see. We know Larkin is incredibly good on the first lap. In recent weeks, he's qualified outside the top 5, I think, in the last 3 rounds in a row. And he's made up many positions in the opening laps to put himself in podium contention. It's something that he's become really famous for this season in Formula 2. Just looking at the alternate strategy runners once again then. Top 3 on the soft tyres. Verstappen in 4th, the first person on the medium tyres. So 4th on the grid, quite high up. He has gone for the alternate strategy, going for something a little bit different. So that'll be interesting to see what he can do on those tyres. Next medium runner is Tim in 10th, and Matrix in 11th is also on the medium tyres, as is Philippe and JD Nolan 13th and 14th, and QVR Chill in 17th. Everyone else is on the soft compound tyres, but obviously the most interesting one there has got to be Verstappen, starting on the second row on the alternate strategy.
We'll see if he's able to hold up near the front. Of course, Hungary, a harder track to overtake, as we've alluded to so far, so probably he will be able to hold on pretty decently at the front unless he has a bad start. But obviously, if it doesn't go his way, he could lose contact with the front runners very, very quickly. We'll see, of course, if the championship fight gets a little bit heated in this race. Larkin and Toxic start dueling out on track. Only a couple of tenths separate them in quality. Then it could keep Verstappen and the legs in this race, and could spell well for them later on, charging back on those softs at the end of the race. A very intriguing one ahead of us. Hungary, Monaco without the barriers. We'll see how it all unfolds. Toxic guys them round, and we're just seconds away from getting this race underway.
Yeah, just seconds away then. Daka, I'm going to push you 3 in this race. Who do you think is going to be on the podium?
I'm going to say this is a track where penalties can play a big role, so I'm going to say Larkin wins it from Verstappen, and on the podium, I'm going to say Toxic will round that off. So we'll see, of course, how that all unfolds, but I think the penalties could play a big role. We'll see, of course, how it all unfolds. Toxic round to the line. Let's get this one started.
Yeah, let's get this one started then. There's your podium prediction from Daka. Get your podium predictions in the comments as well. Would love to see what you guys think is going to be the podium by the end of this race. Got the 2 Carlins lining up the back row of the grid, and then we are ready for the feature race here. 19 laps ahead of us. Long distance race this one. See who gets the best one down into turn 1. It's a fairly long run into turn 1, so you want to get the start possible. Toxic and Larkin are top 2 on the front row. Lights are out fairly quickly, fairly even start off the front row. It looks like Toxic has got the better of the 2 starts ahead of his championship rival. Larkin dropping back in the second phase of the start, and that means Campbell's made it up into second place, and then Verstappen is side by side, as is J. Cole, trying to go around the outside and trying to take P3 coming round. There's a big contact.
Spinner!
Verstappen's been hit in the back by someone. I didn't quite see who that was, but Verstappen massively rear-ended there. I think maybe by one of the Dams cars that might have hit into the back of him. I'm not quite sure. I think Maverick is off the road at the back of the field as well, so he's been caught up in it at the back. So disaster for Verstappen on that alternate strategy. Now right down at the back of the field, we've got another car off the road. That is Freak. He's come off the road, coming off the exit of turn 2. Coming to the end of the first sector, it's chaos in the midfield, coming up towards turn 4. Everyone going side by side by side, but top to stay out in front. Campbell up into second. Larkin not getting the good start we tend to see him do, and he's down to 3rd. XLJ car was up into 4th place ahead of Ryan 5th. It is in 6th place ahead of Philippe, who's up into 7th on those medium tyres. He's had a brilliant start in this race, but he's got front wing damage, so he's obviously made contact somewhere. Pease is up into 8th place from, I think, 17th on the grid. That is an incredible start, and he's going for another move here down the inside of Philippe. coming through turn 11 is pushed Philippe a little bit wide. Philippe comes back on side by side with him. Pease gives him the space to get back on the road, but I don't think Philippe's going to be able to fight this one on the harder compound and with front wing damage. Pease up into 7th place, making moves early on. Brilliant stuff from the Campos man, and up into 7th place. Killer Blue from 18th on the grid, he's into 9th as well, and Lando Norris is up into the top 10 after a good start from him as Philippe dives into the pit lane to change that front wing. It was chaos on that first lap. Fortunately, the man that we was most seeing this race, which was Verstappen, was the one that got hurt the most in that one. He's dropped down to 11th place.
Yeah, that's hugely disastrous for him. We got Lando attacking Killer Blue now to the outside in turn 1, lap 2. Who's going to come in on top? And this one, Killer holds the inside line. I will try and see it off, but the traction, the momentum on exit is with Lando, draws back alongside now as the inside line for turn 2. Can he get this one done then? They are still wheel to wheel on exit, but Killer gets shoved down the line, and through goes Lando. Spectacular stuff, moves up, superb move up into 8, now has total Pease in his sight. These 3 drivers, Pease, Lando, Killer, they've all made such brilliant starts to this race. Can they keep it up? Pease up to 7th, making up for that qualifying, has Zaudova in his sights. Game on for the front, but watch out for those guys in the lower end of the top 10. They are on quite a charge here.
Yeah, absolutely flying. Medium tyres, by the way, at the moment is JD Nolan in 10th place, so he's the first person to look out for. He's right up behind Killer Blue. Killer Blue struggling a little bit for pace here, and I tell you what, Lando has caught Total Pease already. He's absolutely flying in that ART. He's got a lot of confidence, and he's on the back of Pease already. Pease has got a bit of a gap to Zadamo right in front of him, so he'll stay in 7th for the time being. Top 3 are up and away. We've got another spinner. I think that might be Matrix that spun. No, it's not Matrix, sorry. That's Freak in the MP Motorsport. He spun for the 2nd time in this race, and he's lost quite a lot of his front wing, so he's going to have to come into the pit lane, and that will probably drop him behind Philippe and into last place. Toxic then, fastest lap of the race. He's now 1.5 seconds clear of Campbell. He's up and gone. Broken DRS already. Larkin's within DRS range of Campbell, but he won't have it as of yet. There's only one DRS detection point on this track, and it's on the entry to the last corner, which means it will be next lap when people will have DRS. So Larkin's got to try and keep within that 1 second window for the rest of this lap and try and keep up with Campbell. They are now 2.3 seconds ahead of J. Cole, and Ryan is flying in the dams. He's on the back of the ART man, so he's trying to get up into the top 4. Zaunama is directly behind him as well as Freak picks up a 5. 4 speeding in the pit lane. Ryan gets a brilliant run through turn 3. Is he going to go for a move at turn 4? He's having a look to the inside, but he won't be close enough. And J. Cole's going to hold on to 4th for the time being. But J. Cole looking like a little bit of a cork in the bottle here. Ryan has got a lot of pace in that Dams car, and that's probably the most pace we've seen from Ryan all season, as he gets a brilliant run out of turn 5 up towards turn 6. Again, not quite close enough to get up the inside. Ryan looking really fast at the moment.
Can he get the move done though on J. Cole? Of course, these guys both in XL, they do not want to come together out on the track, but Ryan is all over him. Look at this. J. Cole cannot break away, and he is, as you mentioned, a bit of a cork in the bottle here, but Zaudova is catching both of them. So now we have a battle on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. J. Cole trying to hold that 4th place, but surely he can't for much longer. DRS is going to be active as they come over the line, and Ryan, look at this, sitting all over his rear wing. Now around the final corner, gearing up onto lap 4. J. Cole does everything he can to punch off of turn 14 and away, but will it be enough? DRS now back with Ryan. He chases him down, closes down the gap. Does he go for the move? No, just holds back. Lando's on the attack. Yes, indeed. Down the inside, runs a bit deep, and Total Pease tries to get Diddy up and under, get back underneath him, and now they are wheel to wheel again. Down towards turn 2, but on the inside it is Lando. His charge may well continue. Total Pease does not give it up, but in the end, Lando, what a debut this has been. He is flying at the moment. Toxic makes up a penalty up in the lead, so the whole dynamic of the race changing, but Lando up to 7th on a charge. Toxic with a penalty. Now that links Campbell and Larkin back into it. Game on yet again.
Game on yet again, and Toxic succumbs to penalties so much this season, and once again he's picked up an early penalty, as has Total Pease, who's just obviously been passed by Lando, and at the time ran wide coming out of turn 3 and picked himself a penalty as well. Down to 8th goes Total Pease, then Lando is on an absolute charge. He's already on the back of this queue following J. Cole, so he could be in the battle for 4th place at the moment. The top 3 skating away at the front of the field. It is a battle between Campbell and Larkin for the net race lead at the moment, but Toxic has nearly already got that 3 second gap. He's got a lot of raw speed around here, So I wonder if he'll be able to pull out that penalty gap on these two drivers behind. Larkin seems a little bit stuck behind Campbell at the moment. Campbell very good in that middle part of the lap, able to pull enough of a gap on Larkin, so Larkin is not close enough coming round the final corner and onto the pit straight. Toxic again with the fastest lap of the race, a 30.1. Good lap from the Prema man. In the background once again, Ryan's got a brilliant run out of the final corner. He's much closer this time around to J. Cole. J. Cole's going to move to the inside. Ryan will go for the outside line down to turn 1. Who's going to be latest on the brakes into the corner? They're both brake at about the same time. J. Cole still has the inside line. He rear locks and slides into the side of Ryan. Somehow they get away with it, but J. Cole gets a better run, but so does Ryan. Ryan has the inside line for turn 2. Who has the more momentum coming down, as Lando's having a look up the inside of Zaldimer as well in the background. Ryan has the inside line, but it will turn to the outside line for turn 3. Who's going to back out of this one? They're still side by side, and Ryan just about keeps it on the track, and he'll have the inside line for turn 4. So it looks like Ryan has finally got the move done around the outside of turn 3. What a move from Ryan, and he's up into 4th place.
What a tough, hard-fought move from XL Ryan, and he now runs 4th. We have a row of XL drivers, and Lando tracking him down. Jekyll almost goes around through turn 6. Now Zonema up to the outside. It's going to get away. Lando trying to fall through this contact, and round goes Jekyll. Just coming together. Lando went for the move. I don't think he did anything wrong. They just had a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, and Jekyll, he's been so impressive so far in F2, but that is the first real incident we've seen him in. Down into 10th. I think he's just about managed to get away without damage. I'm trying to look at that front wing, see if he is indeed fine. He can continue on, but nevertheless, Jacob suffering greatly out there. Is going to have to try and pull that back to get a Larkin in there. The first strategy calls now beginning to come in. Larkin's in. Maybe he can try and get up to Campbell and gain that 2nd place on the road.
Yeah, Zaldimer's in as well, as Lando was trying to get a move on Zaldimer into the penultimate corner. Lando is flying. He's up to 4th. What a start this has been from him, and now he's on the back of Ryan for 3rd place on the road. That will be 4th, a net 4th place once everyone makes their pit stops. What a drive it's been from Lando so far. He is carving his way through the field, and he's on the back of Ryan. I wonder if he'll go for a move here at turn 2. He looks to the inside. Does he try and force Ryan into a mistake? He's not close enough in the braking zone to get the move done. Can he maybe get a run up towards turn 4? I don't think he can. Ryan looks like he's got this one covered up the hill at least, and Lando's going to stay in 4th for the time being, but he is looking so confident at the moment. I think as well, J. Cole picked up damage off the back of Ryan's car at the chicane. I think he just plainly outbroke himself and drove into the back of Ryan, and that's given Ryan a penalty as well. So that means that Lando will pass him on penalties anyway at this point in the race, so he doesn't necessarily have to make the move. But I tell you what, Lando is not out of the battle yet for a podium here. He's got so much raw speed that he could try and catch Larkin and Campbell at the front of the field, especially if there's a late safety car as well. Looking further down as well.
He's going for already!
Oh, is he going for a move on Ryan? He's going to look to the inside for turn 11. That's a bold move if he can pull that off. There's just force on the curb, and Pease is going to capitalise on it round the outside. He makes the move. Does he go for the move on Ryan as well? He does down the inside late on the brakes. Ryan gives him the space. Who gets the better run out of the corner? Ryan will have the inside line for the penultimate corner. Pease is going to try and drive clean around the outside. Can he pull that one off? He'll have the better exit coming up towards the final corner. They're both going into the pit lane. I don't know if Pease wanted to. They're all going in. And Pease passes Ryan in the entry to the pit lane. I have never seen anything like it. Pease passes Ryan in the entry to the pit lane.
Lando!
And Ryan was so slow on the brakes that Lando passed him as well. So Ryan loses 2 places in the pit lane entry and has dropped down behind Lando and Pease. Great driving there from Pease to pull that one off. That was so opportunistic. An amazing drive. Amazing racecraft there from Total Pease. That is very reminiscent of what Vettel did in China in 2016, and he's pulled it off amazingly. And that means that he's going to stay out in front of Lando as well, coming out of the pit lane. So that puts Pease now into a net P4. Where does he come out relative to the people around him? Zaldimer obviously pitted a lap early, and you know what? Zaldimer's jumped this, although Pease has the inside line for turn 1. Can Pease get those tyres up to temperature and hold on to 9th place on the road? Zaldimer's got a brilliant run coming out of turn 1, and it should have the inside line for turn 2. Can he pull this move off? This will be net P4. Pease again trying to force his way around the outside. He'll have the inside line for turn 3, but he just doesn't have the front tyre grip to keep it alongside. He had a look into turn 3, but he wasn't close enough. Zaldimer jumped the lot of them in all of that chaos, and he's now up into a net P4.
What a remarkable sequence of events that was, and in the end the train has practically flipped. Round through goes Zodoma into 9th place on the road, 4th place on net possession, but Total Peas, I'm sure, is going to be bearing down on him, eager to find any way through. Lando had a bit of a setback, but don't look away, he can still find any move. Toxic also came in, he's now sat behind Alex and Campbell going for the move on Maverick, down the inside, Larkin is right there with him as well. He may pull to the inside of the American, and they're going to go wheel to wheel up towards the penultimate. Round the outside goes Larkin, job done. He runs 7th, and now has Campbell firmly in his sights. Alex comes in after being overtaken by Toxic for P4 on the road. Can Larkin possibly take P6 away from Campbell down the main straight? They go then on to lap 8 in this race. I think Campbell might just have enough in hand. He does have enough in hand. Maintains P5 now out there in the net P2. But can Larkin possibly get up to him? I don't think it's going to happen towards turn 2, but he is ever threatening. That battle continues to heat up. And Lando now right there with Zodoma. Look at this now for 7th place. Does he go for the inside line? Yes, he does. So late on the brakes, and he's made it work. Lando, wow. What a charge, what a drive this has been. He now runs 4th place on net position. This is such an incredible performance. Can he keep this charge going? He's got 8 seconds to make up, so I doubt it. But he has made his way through practically the entire field. Now runs 7th. Lando, what a way to kickstart your campaign in this F2, son. Ahead of Zodoma. Now, what a drive this has been.
This has been arguably, at the moment, we're not even halfway through this race, and I'm happy to say that this is probably one of the drives of the season so far for Lando. What on earth is he on? He's absolutely flying. Pease in all that chaos has made a mistake somewhere. He's dropped down to 11th and had a spin somewhere. So Pease has dropped right out of contention, unfortunately. He's now back down with J. Cole, running nearly 10 seconds behind Killer Blue. So obviously a big error from the Campos man. I wonder if he maybe came into contact with Lando or whether he spun on his own, but we'll have to wait and see. He's starting to make a lot of mistakes recently as Toxic sets another fastest lap of the race. He's now well out in front. He's nearly 6 seconds clear of Campbell, and Campbell himself now has a time penalty, so that puts Larkin ahead of him already. But Larkin going to go for a move at turn 1. Campbell moves to the inside. Larkin has the outside line. He's just about forced onto the curb, but there was enough space there. He's trying to do the up and under coming out the corner. Campbell parks it on the apex so that Larkin can't get the run out the corner. Larkin had a lot of movement on the inside to go for that move at turn 1. He decided on the outside line, and it hasn't quite worked this time round. Campbell parking the bus nicely. Great defensive driving. He holds on to 5th place on the road for the time being, but at the moment it doesn't really mean anything because Larkin will jump him on penalties. And on that last lap, Lando took a full second out of the pair of them. It is not out the question that Lando could steal a podium off of either one of these drivers by the end.
I think you're looking at one of the stars of the remainder of this season, potentially. Lando, what a charge. Verstappen now a penalty. He's made good ground, actually, as Pace picks up one as well. As you mentioned, the mistakes starting to creep in after a fantastic run in his season so far. Is gonna have to try and find a little bit more to turn things around. Now 9 seconds shy of Killer Blue. But now Verstappen with a penalty, staying out yet another lap. Now Toxic is behind Chill. He has made a full pit stop up now on his teammate, and that is going to hurt Chill deep down. As Larkin immediately, and look, Campbell's gone round. Campbell's gone round just before turn 13. He's spun on his own. He's going to have to try and recover that grab that car, sorry. But Lando and Zodoma, they're going to go through. Campbell going round again. He must have completely kicked those tires into the wall as the Trident. He drops way back there. Campbell running in a podium has now lost out there. Heartbreak for the Scotsman. It's not been a good day for Trident yet again. They are not going to get the points all they would have wanted. Campbell now out of contention. What a disaster feature race for Trident.
That is such a shame for Campbell. He had the opportunity to get back ahead of his teammate in the championship standings after this race, and it's all fallen apart for him. He's now back down with Pease after running in 2nd place. That puts Lando on the podium in his first race from the back of the field at Budapest. That is incredible stuff, and he's still a second a lap faster than Larkin in front. So it's not out of the question that he could steal 2nd place off Larkin here, and that could really impact Larkin's championship running here, because look at the gap that Toxic has over Larkin already. He does have a penalty, remember. That doesn't matter at the moment though. Toxic is nearly 8 seconds clear of Larkin at this point in the race. He's absolutely flying. Once again, it's a dominant feature race from Toxic. We've seen this so many times this season. He's passed his teammate Chill, who was again having a really poor run today. He's got front wing damage, I think, on both sides wide, so he's obviously come into a lot of contact at some point in this race, and he's running a very, very damaged car, and he will drop well down the field when he makes his mandatory pit stop to the soft compound tyres after disqualifying his lap time in qualifying as well. So the last 2 rounds really haven't gone Chill's way. Freak picks up another penalty himself as well, as does Philippe. They're both on 2 penalties at this point in the race, I believe, as Toxic does a 29.5. What a lap from Toxic. He is so much faster than the rest of the field at the moment, and Lando still continuing to close in on Larkin. I tell you what, I honestly do think Lando could take second here.
Larkin has to try and turn things around then and get on a bit of a shift in if he wants to keep that second place and keep his championship lead. At the moment, I think Toxic, including the 4 points for pole position and at the moment the points for fastest lap, he's going to be reining it right in. And we could see again, we've seen at the moment every time Toxic has looked like he was going to take the lead and the momentum was with him, he made a few mistakes and Larkin turned things around. Can Toxic see things through this time and continue this charge? We are seeing at the moment a bit of a sprint race, or feature race, sorry, masterclass from the reigning champion and championship contender. He continues to pile it on and get out that gap to his nearest rival. Sensational stuff from Toxic at the moment. The gap between Larkin and Lando now under 6 seconds. I do think, I'm going to check actually what Lando's situation is on penalties. He's also clean, as is Larkin, both of them on 2 warnings in fact, so we'll see if either of them picks up one. But at the moment it's level ground. There's still a long way to go in this race. Larkin needs to respond because Lando's still chopping down that gap. 5.7 seconds. I agree, I don't think he's out of this one just yet.
He really isn't, and Larkin is about to get caught behind Chill, who has a lot of front wing damage, and that's a full lap stuck behind a car with no front wing on him. That's going to cost him at least maybe a couple of seconds on the driver behind, so this could really, really hurt Larkin's race, and this would be great team play from Prema if they've managed to pull this one off. If they managed to use Chill to get Larkin to drop behind Lando in this race, that would be brilliant team strategy in this one, and that's probably why Chill stayed out so long on those tyres, to maybe try and hold Larkin up a little bit. And Lando, He's dropped Zaldimer, but Zaldimer is now being caught by Ryan. So Ryan, after losing out as Pease, has retired in the pit lane. What a shame from him. He could have been well inside the points after this race anyway, even if he'd kept going. And he could have been in contention for that reverse grid pole position, but Pease has decided to retire from the feature race. Such a shame. It's all really fallen apart for him in the last few rounds of this championship for Pease, and he's now out. He won't score any points. As I was saying though, Ryan is catching Zaldimer for 7th on the road, but Ryan is also being caught by Killer Blue. Killer Blue had barely any pace on those soft compound tyres at the start, but on the mediums, Killer Blue is he's turned up another gear.
And now chasing down XL Ryan right on the back of him. Look at this. But even closer is Larkin, and he's got to get a move on now. He's got to shift, because now Lando is almost within 4 seconds of him. Verstappen pits for the lead. Larkin now to the outside of turn 13. That is coolly seen off by Chell. It's so easy to defend around this race circuit. Does he stay out another lap? Does the Prema? Yes, he does. But surely Larkin is going to be able to get through. Oh, and that's back straight. Here we go. He gets underneath him now. DRS will be open. Shell is leaving that inside line opened up. He now squeezes him right across, and he's not making this easy at all there. Larkin forced to the tight line, but he takes the initiative into turn 1 then. Can Chill get back underneath the No, he's gone round! Chill spinning that Prema, trying, futile, surely to try and fight back at Larkin, but he gave it a go ultimately though. It has come a blows to him. He's now down into 4th place. Zerba goes through. Ryan still on the defensive from Killer Blue. He's actually gone down the inside of him there. And now Killer Blue on the attack. Down the inside. Can Ryan get back underneath him? Now they're going to switch sides of the track then. Ryan back to the outside. And now, again, goes down the right-hand side of Killer, but I don't think that it's going to be seen through. And now, Zaudema has made a mistake or something. Now, Killer and Ryan are right there with him. This battle now all converging out there. Killer trying to stay ahead of Ryan. After we got that move done, now Zaudema right in front then. It is battles galore out there, and Verstappen right with them on those fresh softs, now looking at a potential top 5 here in this race.
I was just about to say, Verstappen, the end of that stint on those medium tyres has brought him right back into contention after that spin. Chill is still at the front of this queue, so Zaudema is going to get caught behind him here. So Killer Blue, Ryan and Verstappen will be all over the back of him, and Verstappen on those fresh compound tyres could really work his way back through after a poor start. Zaudema looking down the inside of Chill, when Chill kind of squeezes him on the inside of the corner, Zalama has to back out of it at the last moment. He just about keeps the car on the road with no damage. Killablu's pushing him through the penultimate corner. They're so slow stuck behind Chill. He's got absolutely no speed. Chill finally pits on lap 14. Just a few laps too late for the sake of his race, but it's really helped his teammate out at the moment. As across the line they go, then Zaldimer's going to move to the inside line. Look at Ryan going for a move on Killablu. Look at Verstappen trying to make it 3 wide down the inside. Can he pull that one off? They're going to go into the corner. Do they know they're 3 wide? They're still 3 wide coming out of the corner. They're all so evenly matched. Verstappen gets a brilliant run. It's Killablu that gets caught out. He loses 2 places in one corner. Verstappen trying to work his way around the outside. A little bit of contact with Ryan, but a brilliant move. He's trying to go for Zaldimer as well. Is he going to go for the inside at turn 3? Zaldimer leaves in the space, but he doesn't quite get to the inside. What a brilliant move from Verstappen though to get past Killablu and Ryan and up into 5th place. What a comeback from Verstappen after that early spin, battling for 4th on the road. Meanwhile, Lando has brought the gap down to Larkin to 2 seconds. That lap stuck behind Chill has cost Larkin massively here, and Lando is now right behind the man for the 2nd place.
Here comes Lando. He started in 16th in this race and has now worked his way up to 3rd and chasing down the championship leader. My oh my, what a drive this has been, and think of what this means for the future of him if he can make ground that easily. I'm very excited to see him now in future rounds. Pete's now out the session altogether. I'm not sure if that's connection, but he is not a happy man. You can bet your house on that there. Lando, fastest lap of the race, and he takes that away from Toxic. Now, let's turn our attentions to this battle over 4th place. Surely Zahedema cannot hold off the charge in QBR Verstappen. What a comeback drive it's been. He opts for the outside line down towards turn 1. Can he get it done on the brakes then? As they head towards it then, they stop with the left foot then as they get a turn in at turn 1. But right outside goes Verstappen. What a way to dispatch of 3 cars in 1 lap. Now up to 4th place. He's 11 seconds shy of Lando. I don't think that's happening, but still, he's done very well to make up for that. Get himself back into contention, and now Ryan trying to fend off Killablu. They're still almost nose to tail back there. Verstappen up to 4th. Looks like he's going to stay there. But after a disaster on the opening lap, he'll take that, but he'll also be thinking, what could it be? And he could have really been fighting for the top positions here.
He really could have. Toxic picks up his 2nd time penalty of the race, but still at this point in the race, that's not going to cost him anything. He's 10.5 seconds clear of Larkin. Lando's nearly within DRS range. It's down to 1.4, down to 1.3 coming out of turn 11, so he continues to bring it down, made that 1.2 and onto the run into turn 12. He's bringing it down, set 10th by 10th each corner. He's absolutely flying, and the fastest lap of the race away from Toxic, who's been so dominant in these feature races this season. To take the fastest lap off the man 2nd in the championship is quite some feat. On the same compounded tyres as well at the same age. That's brilliant stuff from Lando. He's tantalisingly 1/10 of a second outside of DRS range. He won't have it on this lap, but he sets another purple sector in the final sector to get within that 1 second coming down the pit straight and into turn 1. He'll be within DRS range on the next lap. Verstappen has broken DRS to Zaldimer already, who runs a little wide out the final corner, but Ryan won't be close enough to Zaldimer to make a move into turn 1 unless he's damn dear on the brakes, but I don't think he will be coming into the corner. We've also got another Dams car on the inside. That's JD Nolan. JD Nolan's gone out on the full wet tyres, so his race has gone from bad to worse to utterly horrible. He's currently in 16th place on the wet compound tyres. Another thing to note as well is that battle for reverse grid pole. Campbell closing in on this Cooper cars, but Campbell has a time penalty and he's dragging Matrix with him. As I say that, Matrix has a massive slide coming into turn 2. Looked like a rear lock on the curb. He manages to hold the car somehow, and he holds on to 9th place. Chiller's retired from the race coming out of turn 12. He's hit the wall, so he's completely out of this one. So again, no points for him. But at the moment, Matrix could be up for reverse grid pole, and for a man that's missed pretty much all of the races this season, that is some comeback from Matrix as well.
Now he's just going to try and get up to Campbell. We'll see, of course, how the penalties affect things. Look at Lando, though. Ooh. What a charge. Now from the back of the grid to the front, and now bearing down on one of the leading drivers in the series. Here we go now. On to lap 17 goes Toxic in a few seconds. We'll be saying the same for Larkin and Lando, but in what order will they be in about 30 seconds time? Because now the DRS is open. Larkin immediately moves to break the slipstream, moves to cover the inside line, but will it be enough? Here comes Lando. Now he's going to size up that inside line. Here here we go into turn one then. Is he committed? Yes, he is. He takes a short run through the corner. Larkin runs wide, tries to pick up the momentum, and DRS again with Lando then. Can Larkin use the momentum and keep that inside line? Lando's so late on the brakes. He's got a lot of fresher tyres. Can he use them right outside of two? And he is up in the second place already. Larkin fights it back right outside. He's not giving this up, but the momentum it comes through. And Lando from 16th on the grid now runs second. Wow. He dispatches of Larkin sensationally. Matrix and Campbell are battling. I think Campbell's made another error because now Matrix has immediately gone through. But what a drive from Lando. Now ahead of Larkin. He won't get up to Toxic, but from such a far place in the grid, now up to second place and ahead of the championship leader. What on earth can he do in the future rounds? I can't wait to see.
That is absolutely incredible. Where has Lando been this whole season? He seems at the moment equal pace to Toxic, which I didn't think we would see that so far. Let's see what the gap between Lando and Toxic is by the end of the race. It's 11.5 at the moment. Let's see on raw pace how different these two are in terms of speed. They look very evenly matched here. Verstappen's Kill running in 4th place. He is now 4 seconds clear of Zaldibar. He is up and gone at the front of that queue, so it's now a battle for 5th. And Ryan's continuing to pressure Zaldibar. Killer Blue is there. Matrix now up into 8th on the road as Campbell, like you say, seems to have made another mistake, I think, coming out of turn 1. We've got another yellow flag somewhere. That's Ibo, I believe, just moving out of someone's way. I think he might have been actually battling with JD Nolan, and JD Nolan's on the full wet tyres, so they're having a good old battle for 15th place on the road. As Campbell, just riding with Campbell there again, another slide coming out the penultimate corner. What could have been for Campbell today, it could have been a 4th place finish, but it's all really fallen apart for him.
Comes Ryan.
Yeah, is he Ryan going for a move on Zaldibar down into turn 1? He's going to the outside line. Is he going to try and force his way around the outside? The outside line does look very good at turn 1. It means he'll have the inside line for turn 2, and he has DRS as well. Can he get there? Can Zaldibar hold it around the outside? Zaldibar trying to force him to the inside, trying to make him take a tighter line. There's a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact there, but Ryan looks like he's got the move done down the inside of turn 2. Brilliant move, and he's passing up into 5th place. Great stuff from Ryan after that compromised pit stop. He's worked his way back past the guys that passed him in that point of the race, and he's up into 5th place. Zaldibar down to 6th, and he's now got Killer Blue almost into the back of him, and he is into the back of him. He manages to get away with it. Zaldibar was so slow on the brakes into turn 5, and it caught Killer Blue out. They just about get away with it, and they stay in 6th and 7th place for the time being. But once again, brilliant move from Ryan, and he's up into the top 5.
That move has been basically a whole feature race in the making, and yeah, at the moment he is now headed for a 5th place. They're a solid drive from Exeter Ryan. As you mentioned, it's pretty much the best we've seen from him all season. Look at the gap in the leaders. You mentioned this little proxy war that we're looking at there. It's not going to be for the race win, but Lando on the last lap a couple of tenths quicker than Toxic, so he's still charging. And Toxic, is he going to be taking note of this? I know that he's likely not going to be fighting Lando for the championship, but he's seeing Lando now, matching him at the very least on pace in this race. Is he thinking, do I have another person to worry about in this championship? And just for fighting week in, week out, potentially interrupting the fight, as he's done today. Larkin, unless Lando gets a penalty, is futile to fight back. So Lando, now within 11 seconds of Toxic, has driven absolutely superbly in this race from the back of the grid to second. We'll see if he holds on to it there, but Toxic and Larkin are both thinking at this point now they've got another driver to worry about, another driver that could really spice up this championship battle.
Definitely, like you say, he really has put himself right in the thick of the championship battles today. He takes fastest lap point off of Toxic, and he also takes crucial place points off of Larkin as well. That's 3 points to Larkin that he's going to lose in this race, which could cost him in the championship. Just riding with Zaldibar on this final lap of the race. That was Freak Bronca lap down, who just spun coming out of turn 5, unfortunately, but he was matching the pace of the likes of Zaldibar and Killer Blue at the time. This is the closest battle on the track, but we'll ride back to Toxic, who's coming round the final corner. Another dominant performance in a feature race from Toxic, and he will take another victory this season. He takes another feature race victory in the Prema car. He will finish on the road 10.7 seconds clear of Lando, who brought the gap down by about 0.4 of a second a lap. He crosses the line to get within 5 seconds on penalties. Larkin with another podium this season, but he'll be gutted that he misses out on second place. Philippe finishes the race in 12th place, a lap down in this race. Just goes to show how many people got lapped in this race. Verstappen in 4th place, a good comeback drive from him. Ryan will cross the line in 5th ahead of Zaldibar in 6th. Killer Blue couldn't quite keep with Zaldibar at the end. Zaldibar does pass Ryan on penalties at the end as well. As across the line they come, Campbell does steal back reverse grid pole off of Matrix, who had a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He didn't have a time penalty from exceeding track limits, so that's cost him 8th place in this race, and that costs him that crucial front row start for the sprint race. J. Cole crosses the line in 10th place after a compromised race really from the outset for him. Alex will be one of the last people to cross the line. He crosses the line in 11th place, a fairly innocuous race for him. He crosses the line 11th, and the rest of the drivers are lapped down from there. So Philippe, Alt Maverick, Freak, Ibo and JD Nolan are lapped down. JD Nolan and Ibo are just driving in formation side by side here, and JD Nolan has full wet tyres on. I've never seen this before. JD Nolan fighting for 15th place on full wet tyres in the Dams car. He is down the inside. I wonder if he can hold on to this one. That would be a good job if he can. But I'm sure Ibo will want all the places that he wants, but it doesn't look like Ibo's really fighting him that hard. But at the end of that one then, Toxic with another race victory, but standout drive from Lando from 16th on the grid to get within half a second of the race win in second place. Half a second. Half a 10 seconds. There we go. 5 seconds. I got my words mixed up, but there you go.
Yeah, that was superb from Lando, and as we've alluded to, I am really excited to see him throughout the remaining rounds of this Formula 2 Championship, and he's deservedly given Driver of the Day ahead of this one. Toxic it is, though, who will claim the points and the championship, and he will climb to the top step of the podium and towards the top step of the championship then. Larkin was overhauled here on this occasion. It is indeed Toxic Ml who will take your race victory. Lando standout drive to second, Larkin in third place. That's your podium for this one, and they will stand atop atop the standings ahead of this one. We'll see, of course, how the sprint race next up is going to unfold. But yeah, Toxic, critical win. Can he keep the momentum up? Can he, for the first time in a long time, claim that championship lead for good?
Let's see if he can do that. Like you say, he hasn't had the lead of the championship really since the first round onwards. He's looked like in feature races, but he's been able to come back in feature races, and then in sprint races, either something's gone wrong or he's made a mistake. And Larkin seems to claw all the points back he lost in the feature race in the sprint race. So I have to wait and see if that trend continues. Toxic with the race win, like you say, from Lando in second place. What a drive from him. He takes fastest lap as well. Larkin in third, on the podium once again, but he'll be gutted that he didn't really have the pace today. Verstappen in fourth, ahead of Zaldimer in fifth place. Ryan in sixth, Killer Blue seventh. Campbell, despite a very compromised race, still ends up on reverse grid pole for the sprint race. So he's within a great shot of getting a sprint race victory, his second sprint race victory of the season, I believe that would be. Matrix ninth, good comeback from him, and J. Cole in 10th place. Alex, Philippe, Maverick, Freak, JD Nolan and Ibo round off the finishers. Chill, Peas and Tim, two of the three big names in this championship, and Chill and Peas not able to finish the race. And once again, Chill's run of bad luck just continues, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's really not been a good run from him in the last few rounds particularly. It looked so good from him at one point throughout the mid part of the season, particularly in that standout round that he had in Spain, I think it was, scoring a load of points there. But the last few just haven't quite gone his way. We'll see, of course, if he can possibly turn around his fortunes here in the sprint race. It'll be a bit of a fresh start for some of the drivers. Pole position, I believe, will be Campbell ahead of this one, so we'll see if he can recover from a disastrous feature race, get his chase for third place in the championship back on track, make up the ground. We've seen him win sprint races before this season. Can he do it again? We'll see, of course, how the likes of Toxic, Larkin and Lando are able to make the ground as well. Sprint race ahead of us, usually chaos here in F2. We'll see if Hungary delivers the same thing there as we load into it, and I guess we'll just have to deal with the formation lap, and then we can get this race underway. Sprint race is ahead of us, Aiden.
Yeah, chaos, like you say, that is what we've got to watch out for here. The start of the feature race was absolute chaos throughout the field, and the sprint race is usually way more chaotic than the feature race, so I'll have to wait and see how this one works out. Can everyone get through the first lap cleanly? That's going to be very, very crucial, and we saw Campbell in the feature race get a brilliant start and take second place, so we know he can get off the line well, and that's going to be crucial for his race today. Let's have a look down the field as well. Everyone will obviously be on the medium tyres, apart from Freak and Peas, because Freak and Peas pitted so many times, they're on the softs, which means that they're going to have to make a pit stop in this one, so their sprint race is already heavily compromised, so they're going to be hoping for a safety car at some point in this one. It's much, much sunnier this time round. It was very clouded over in the feature race, much hotter for the sprint race. It seems nice bright sunny skies. That will make the track a little bit warmer, it make the tyre temps go up a little. Really see anyone struggle that much in terms of tyre wear in that feature race. Looking further down then, who do you think is one to look out for here?
Yeah, well, I'm going to be looking out for those two big names that you mentioned that didn't finish the feature race. Chell and Pease are both drivers that had their runs of form and now have a point to prove. Look out for them as well. But also, another dynamic I'm looking for, a battle between Larkin, Lando and Toxic. Behind, looking through the sprint race, we saw Lando how he was able to go quicker than Toxic in the last 2 laps of that feature race, and now he's sharing the same piece of track. This is a real test for the debutant. Can he keep Toxic at bay? Can either of them get through on Larkin? It's a fascinating sprint race ahead of us. We'll see how it all unfolds, but at the moment, Campbell Killer front row. We see if it stays that way going through the 14-lap sprint race.
Yeah, remember, top 8 reverse for the sprint race if you're new to Formula 2, so it's Campbell who finished 8th in the feature race. He's on Killer Blue, who's on the front row. He started at the back of the field in the feature race, so good comeback from him as well. Ryan ahead of Zaldimer, Verstappen, Larkin, Lando and Toxic, the top 8 reverse. Then Matrix and J. Cole will round off the top 10 for the start of the sprint race. Dakar, I'm going to hand over to you for the start of this one. This looks like it could be a classic.
Let's hope it is, Aidan. Let's get this one underway. First and foremost, the back of the grid now beginning to line up, and we can kick things off then. 14 laps and the Hungary ahead of us, folks. Let's see how the fortunes of the drivers will be affected. Campbell is going to lead them off the line. Will he stay there for the duration of the race? We'll find out in the coming laps as we just wait now for the lights to come on ahead of the drivers. We have 4, 5 lights. And we are away for the sprint race, and Killer got a good soar off the line, but a little bit of wiggling around in the second phase, and we got a bit of contact from the back. I saw Debris flying there. Look at XL Ryan, he's trying to go down the middle there. Campbell desperate to maintain the race leader. Round the outside of Killer Blue 195, yes, he does maintain the race lead there. Verstappen was sizing up a move on Ryan, but ends up losing out then, as we have, I think that's Toxic trying to cut through, and now down the inside looking at Ryan, and immediately trying to make ground down there. It's a little bit difficult to keep up with anything with all the battles going on, but I think Campbell has just about managed to maintain the race lead ahead of Killer Blue 195. Zaudimer's right up there as well, and in that third position, Toxic, a brilliant start up into fourth. We had some incidents back there. Lando's dropped back. Larkin not really making any gains. We had quite a few incidents back there. I think Chell made a brilliant start, so chaos down there, but the constant is Campbell holds on to the race lead. Can he control it? Can he maintain it for the remainder of the race now?
Yeah, both Prima cars with brilliant starts, and Toxic looking for another move on Zaldimer coming up towards turn 11, trying to maybe go for it, but he's not quite close enough to look up the inside, but he might have a look up the inside into the next corner. He's got a brilliant run out the corner. Looks like Larkin in the background is trying to defend from J. Cole as well, as Lando has a time penalty for corner cutting and gaining a place. And he's going for the inside move into the penultimate corner. Can he pull that one off? Zaldimer will have the inside line for the next corner. Does he have the traction in the inside line? No, he doesn't. What an opening lap from Toxic, from 8th to 3rd. He's already on the podium. He's left Larkin in his dust, and I think Lando was the one on the grass down the pit straight on the opening lap. He must have got caught in some contact, or just had a lot of wheel spin off the line, because he ended up in the grass, and that's why he's down in 13th place at the moment. But what a start from Toxic. All that sprint race problems that we talk about for him seem to have disappeared. 8th to 3rd in 1 lap.
No, it's an inspired sprint race from Toxic MML so far. Can he get a move done now on Campbell and Killer up at the front of this race? Chell's charge is continuing. He's round the outside of Philippe around turn 2, down the inside through 3, and he is through. Moving up the order yet again. He now runs into 8th place. They were 9th place now. See him struggling to keep up with all the graphical issues. Thank you very much for that one, Codemasters. But anyway, looking more towards the race. Campbell maintains the race lead. Toxic continuing to fly. And look at this. He's sizing up the Carlin of Killer Blue 195 for Verstappen as well. Looking all over the rear wing of XL Ryan in the Dams car. We're seeing now fortunes beginning to adjust and battles beginning to form out there. Here in the sprint race here in Hungary, Verstappen's got a good run on XL Ryan, but he's going to cover the inside line, knows Ryan. The overtake will not quite come through with Verstappen, but he is sizing that one up there further down the field there. Frank Funk is the next car to attack. Philippe is going to force him out wide, and Verstappen as well is in a battle away with Ryan. I think Ryan must have made an error, and through goes Frank Funk, through goes Verstappen. He now runs fifth. Killer Blues into the pit lane early, must have got damage. Why? Oh my, oh my. What on earth has happened to your lap 2? Killer in from second.
That is all blown up as Philippe is wide at the final corner. He's just hit the tyre barrier. He comes back onto the track right in front of someone. Killer's retired from the race, so unless he had some prior commitment, he couldn't continue with this race, unfortunately. So at a second place, he drops and is retired from the race. Philippe ended up in the barriers. He's down the inside with a late move there on Tim. Not enough room on the inside, so Philippe, it's all falling apart for the second Arden driver at the moment. That was a real desperate move there for Philippe, having lost a few places in one corner. Looks like Chill is side by side with J. Cole, trying to go round the outside of turn 3, but that was off the track. I imagine he'll probably have to give the place back up to J. Cole. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. It's Philippe once again who's gone off the road. Ryan gets a time penalty. Chill's wide at turn 4. He's allowing J. Cole to go back round the outside of turn 5. They're still side by side. Chill forces J. Cole onto the curb and he makes the move up into 7th place. What a great start this has been from Chill. Is more than making up for the problems of the feature race. He's up into 7th place already on lap 3 of this race. What a start this has been from both Prema drivers. Ryan, by the way, he had a half spin coming out of turn 12. He just got on the curb too much and just got on the power a little bit too early and spun the car, and that allowed both Verstappen and Larkin through up into 4th and 5th, and he's down into 6th place now. But Chill, what a start from him.
This has been an inspired drive so far from QBR Chill. Can he keep the progress up now as XL Ryan just in front of him now? Can he seek out any overtaking opportunities? Now Freak Vronk is going to, looks like he's made an error coming into turn 13. He's going to drop back on the soft tyres. Is now already perhaps struggling on that tyre wear. We'll see, of course, how things unfold. Further down the line, we have a few cars in the pit lane. JD Nolan and Ebo both came in. Looking at that front panel now. Toxic is completely reeled in QVR Campbell. Look at this. He's all over the Scotsman now. Toxic potentially chasing a double race win and a near perfect round at the moment there. Purple first sector, and now has Campbell right in his crosshairs. Philippe is retired from the race. Is that on the entry to the pit lane, or is that he's brought out a VSC is what's happened, not a full safety car. But Philippe has changed the dynamic of this race somewhat. The driver is able to take a little bit of a breather out there. So Campbell still leads the way, but Toxic, my oh my, what pace we've seen from him so far this race. Now has Campbell right in his sights, but will he make the move? Philippe now has pulled out the session. It looks like his car is still going down the pit lane. I'm not entirely sure, just looking at that mini-map, so I'm not exactly sure why the VC was brought out, but Campbell still leads, Toxic in second. Now he gapped out to Zoudema and further, and Zoudeman's got a bit of company then. He's going to have a whole host of drivers on his tail, so at the moment the Dutchman holds the podium position, but how much of a chance do you bet on him keeping that there? He has Verstappen, Larkin, Ryan, and all the rest firmly on his tail, as surely we'll get back to racing soon, Aidan, and we can get this race back underway.
Let's wait and see as it does go now then, right on the exit of the final corner, and Campbell reacted to that restart brilliantly. He pulled a bit of a gap on Toxic, which means he won't be under pressure into turn 1, so he'll be able to just focus on the braking zone for turn 1. Zoudema, though, is under pressure from Verstappen coming down the hill. Verstappen going to the outside line for turn 1. Zoudema very late on the brakes, but has a bit of a rear lock into the corner, slides the car on the exit, and Verstappen takes full advantage and cuts to the inside, going down towards turn 2, and he's up into 3rd place then for Verstappen. Passes Zoudema on that mistake. Brilliant stuff from Verstappen. It's a double trident podium at the moment. This is exactly what they needed after a bit of a poor result in the previous one. We got a yellow flag. I think that is Freak that may have had another moment in the MP Motorsport car. He's had a spin from 12th position at the moment. He's still on those soft compound tyres, so he'll have to pit. Chill picks up a time penalty in 7th place, so that's going to cost him at the end of this one. Lando Norris, meanwhile, has passed J. Cole for 8th place on the road, and he's directly behind Chillau as well. So Lando, having dropped to 14th on the opening lap, is working his way back through nicely, already up into 8th and going for Chill in 7th place as Toxic now picks up a 3-second time penalty, and that won't cost him second, but at this point in the race it will cost him the race victory.
He's going to have to drive a remarkable race from now if he wants to claim that double victory. And he also has a very stubborn and high-quality Scotsman of QBR Campbell in his way in the Trident. They are both barreling down towards turn 14, almost nose to tail. Surely Toxic can get this one done soon, barring any mistakes. Here they go then. He gets a brilliant run off the last corner. Campbell cuts across his nose. He does not want to get this up, but he may have to. Toxic with the momentum, with the extra speed, the drag reduction system coming into play, but Campbell does not give it up. Back down the inside. line in a turn 1 then, and now on the edge of the all wheel to wheel with the DRS to the inside line will be with Toxic. Campbell edging him over, edging him towards the inside line, but Toxic does not yield. He does not give it up. Now is the inside again for turn 2. Eases Campbell. Campbell so relentless, trying to keep this one. There's contact between them, but eventually Toxic will get through into the race. They won a fight Campbell put up, but eventually had to yield in. Toxic got too much in hand. Now runs up in the lead of this race. They are battling so hard. Now Verstappen coming into play. Both Trident still in play for the race lead. Toxic still has so much work to do if he wants to keep this one. And Campbell looking underneath him at turn 7, but he's just going to hold that one back.
That is brilliantly hard but fair racing. What a battle between those 2 inches apart. Really coming into contact at any point. Great stuff from them. And Toxic once again out in front. Can he gap Campbell enough to make that 3-second penalty not mean anything by the end of this one? We saw the pace he had in the feature race. It is definitely possible. And he's already starting to gap Campbell, who is struggling to keep within that attacking range as Toxic just continues to pull away. He's so much more confident at this point in the race. And he's nearly broken that 1-second gap already. It's absolutely flying. Verstappen in third, closing in on his teammate at the moment. So Verstappen looks like maybe the faster of the 2 Trident cars here. Zaldimer somewhat keeping with him, but he's got Larkin and Ryan directly behind him on the road. Larkin's still down in 5th, not capitalising at the moment. He's not able to work his way through the slower cars in front. He can't make his way through while Toxic is now in the lead.
Lando.
Meanwhile, in the background, Lando going to the inside line for Chill. So Lando is going to go for 7th place. He forces Chill out a little bit wide, but gives him enough room on the exit of the corner.
Oh, contact!
Chill slides into the side of Lando, and Lando has ended up in the wall after an amazing feature race. Contact between Chill and Lando. It just looked like Chill got full safety car. Wow. So it just looked like from my end of things that Chill just got 2 sideways on the curb, drove into the side of Lando's car, and that took them both off the road. Amazingly, Chill doesn't have any damage in this one and got away with no penalties, but Lando, after an amazing feature race, what could have been a good comeback drive for him in the sprint race, has all come to nothing.
I think it was a bit of a mutual thing. Lando was moving over to squeeze Chill on exit. Chill, as you mentioned, a little bit of oversteer, very unlucky, taking out Lando. I think Lando could have potentially avoided it, but he couldn't have anticipated Chill going into a bit of a half spin like that. Very unfortunate for both drivers. Chill so lucky to still actually be in contention, and he will get back up towards the front of the grid, only losing 1 or 2 positions. I think 2 positions in the end, thanks to that. But now what this does, Toxic, with that penalty that he picked up, now is going to come into play a little bit more. He and Campbell were able to gap the rest of the field fairly considerably before the safety car. Now that we have the safety car, the field will be bunched up, and now he's going to have to try and pull out that gap yet again with the 2 Tridents, and everyone else are going to be chasing him down. Now the field converges, comes back together, and now the race will really hot up. We'll have a few laps at the end to decide it. Toxic holds your race lead, but there's absolutely no guarantee that he stays there.
Absolutely none. Yeah, I was expecting maybe one of the top 8 drivers to come into the pit lane, and no one has. So no one opting to put a set of the soft compound tyres on. They don't think it's going to gain them enough at the end of this race. So everyone stays in the same order. We'll have to wait and see if anyone decides to come into the pit lane, but I don't think they are. Matrix has stayed out on... Maverick, sorry, has stayed out on the track, so has Matrix, so they're not coming into the pit lane. So it does look like maybe someone like JD Nolan or Freak might be the ones to come into the pit lane and put those soft compound tyres on, but everyone else, meanwhile, staying out on track. So the order is unchanged at the front of the field, but like you say, that penalty for Toxic at the moment drops in a number of places, but the good thing for Toxic is that when the safety car comes in, he can control this restart, and he has got clear track in front of him to try and pull away, as everyone now behind will start squabbling for positions. So in some way, this could actually massively help Toxic.
We will see, of course. It could go either way. For your race leader, they are chasing the championship lead. But we'll see, of course, how the battles all unfold behind him. Can Campbell stay with him? Can Verstappen stay in the hunt? Who knows what will happen in the closing laps? I don't know if we'll get back to racing on this particular lap. I think there's a few drivers that are too far detached for that to come to pass. But now, Toxic is going to be eager to get things going as soon as he possibly can. Campbell and Verstappen will be eagerly anticipating this as well. We'll get another lap behind the safety car, and then we can get back to racing. So here we go then. Toxic leading them round. Tyre strategy not really changed apart. I think, unless it's a graphical glitch, I'm not sure about Pease's strategy call, but he is sitting apparently on brand new medium tyres, so he's going to be able to get those on. After starting on the softs, actually, he's been brought into this one a little bit. We'll see, of course, how the fresher tyres affect things. So while you're seeing a fairly established order amongst the top 11, it's what happens with the rest of the field that's going to be fascinating to track on this restart.
Definitely, yeah, that's what's going to be the interesting thing to look out for. I think the only person at the moment on the lead lap on a different set of tyres is JD Nolan in 13th. He's on 3-lap-old compound tyres, so maybe come into the pits and put another fresh set of compound tyres on if he has any left, because he'll struggle to get those to the any sort of relative pace on them. Pease, I do think, is not in the lobby, unfortunately, unless my eyes are deceiving me. I'm not quite sure. Just looked like his car was ghosted on my end, so I don't know if he's in the lobby or not. I think the car may have just pitted it for himself anyway. So unfortunately, Pease doesn't look like it's going to gain anything from this. In the end, what could have been a good comeback drive for Pease, with all the chaos we've had so far, this could have been a good opportunity for Pease to come back through the field, and he's just not been able to take advantage of it, unfortunately. But the running order then, the top 10, as we go into the final few laps of the sprint race, then it's Toxic that leads from Campbell and Verstappen. Zaunama runs 4th ahead of Larkin 5th, Ryan 6th ahead of J. Cole, Tim running in 8th place ahead of Chill, down to 9th after that contact with Lando, and Matrix rounding off the top 10 in the first of the Campos cars. But it could be all changed by the end of this one. We know that Ryan and Toxic both have penalties. Ryan stuck in the thick of the action, could drop him a number of places. Chill has a penalty as well. So we're going to have to look out for the likes of maybe J. Cole, Tim, Larkin, Zaldimer, maybe the Trident cars as well, to try and gain places on penalties at the end. And Toxic is going to have to try and break that gap, and it looks like we're going to be staying up for another lap behind the safety car. So we'll only have about 3 laps left in this race.
And that's just 3 laps only for the entire order to shake itself up in the closing stages here at the Hungaroring. It's maybe not quite been a night of racing we were delivered at Silverstone, but still been very, very action-packed and intriguing all the way through. And now it begins to build towards a climatic event at the end of this one. We'll have, at the very most, 4 laps of green flag racing after the safety car comes into the pit lane, and we can kick things back off. Toxic leads it away, chasing a double victory, but what are his chances with that penalty that he can hold on to it, or will the Tridents spoil his party? They could be finally headed for a 1-2 this season. They're
really good, yeah. And Trident, after a poor feature race, this would be a great comeback for them. Trident really in a battle with Prema in the manufacturer standings. Prema unfortunately not scoring a lot of points in terms of Chill's side of things in Silverstone, and that has been the case in the feature race as well. So getting a tie double point score for Trident could really be beneficial for them at the moment. Also, I don't think we've had a double win yet this season. Toxic took obviously a lot of wins last season, but we didn't have this feature in sprint race order last time round. So this season is the first time with this format, and I don't think as of yet we've had someone win both races. So if Toxic can pull this off, unless my memory is deceiving me, but if Toxic can pull this off, this would be the first double win of the season for someone, which is crazy to think, because at points in the season, Toxic has looked so much faster than the rest of the field and still hasn't been able to pull up that double win yet. I think he might have got one at Spain, if I'm not mistaken, but he might not have at the same time. I know he had a very large sum of points for that from that race. Anyway, the only car still detached from the group is Alex at the moment there, and he's quite far behind. So I'm not sure if we're going to get back. And actually, there's my question answered by race control. We're going to get this race back underway, and Toxic immediately slows things down, backs up that pack, ready to kick things off. The Trident drivers will be looking for any opportunity to get the jump off the restart. Toxic has to try and time this one right. Then into turn 13, no appliance on the right foot from Toxic just yet. There he gears up the outside line, looking for the exit there. Campbell is taking a longer route round, looking for more momentum. Toxic blocking him out, boxing him out, and a very slow speed. We're heading towards the last corner. He's squeezing him right onto the grass, and now opens it up. He's gonna go surely almost now. He's still holding the back as they go round to the line. This is so late from Toxic, and now is he gonna go? Yes, he is, and he's caught Campbell off guard, I think there. Away he goes, and now Larkin's also got the jump. He is on the outside of Zaunama. We have cars battling galore down there, and also incident back there. I think Chill's been caught out there, but look towards the front is Larkin down the outside.
inside now of Zanua. Can he make that one stick? He's caught out there. Zanua trying to squeeze him out as they head down towards turn 2. The Prema, the audience still looking, so when he comes back to the inside movement in the break, so from Zanua, he's making this very, very difficult. But Larkin hanging on in there. They go to turn 3 and they come together almost. Zanua was out of shape. He just about is able to avoid significant contact. Through goes Larkin in the end. Zanua now holding back. He's run wide again. I think there was contact with Ryan. So now the Dutchman getting caught in the wars then on this restart. Now it's Ryan Jaco behind him. Those three have been inseparable throughout this whole race now. So Toxic grabs the race lead. Larkin making movements on the restart. Still, the top 3 within range of Toxic with the penalties. So Toxic has to get on with it. As we also have Matrix going round 1 now if this happened. What a chaotic restart we've seen here.
Absolute chaos at the start. It was very reminiscent of Mugello in Formula 1. Toxic went so late and it caught his teammate out. Chill came round the final corner, not expecting everyone to be parked really, almost at 40 miles an hour coming around the final corner. Chill came round the final corner at full speed and just drove clean into the back of the driver in front of him. I didn't quite see who he drove into the back of. I think it might have been Tim's car that he drove into the back of. So that's cost Chill massively. So Chill, from what could have been a good top 10 point scoring position for him, is now down in 15th place with heavy front wing damage. So Chill was going to unfortunately walk away from this round with no points on the board whatsoever. Absolute disaster it's been for Chill today. Toxic then leads coming on to lap 12. There's 3 laps to go. He's just over a second ahead of Campbell. As I say that, Campbell gets a good run through the corner and takes 2 tenths out of Toxic. So Campbell sticking just within DRS range at the moment. He's got to try and keep within that to try and steal the win off of Toxic at the end of this one. Verstappen and Larkin all still within penalty range. Zalderman just outside, I think, in that Charu car. Larkin is going to be hoping to try and get ahead of Toxic by the end of this one. There's still some points back after that feature race. Maybe hoping for one of the Trident cars to get a penalty as well, as Ryan gets his second penalty of the race, and that is going to drop him a number of places in this race at the moment. This could drop him well behind Matrix down to 14th and out of the points if it continues this way. So Ryan looking to maybe try and gap the drivers behind. J. Cole and Tim will be the first ones to capitalise. Freak has had a brilliant restart in the MP Motorsport car on those fresh medium tyres. He's up to 9th, so that's been a great restart from him, and he's right on the back of he's near the back of this queue of cars, and some of them have penalties, so Freak could be on for his best result of the season.
We'll see if he can keep that momentum going. He also has Nolan on softs, bearing down on him as well, so keep an eye out on that. Just over 2 laps to go now at Hungary, and Toxic holding on now, beginning to get that gap out to Campbell, but he needs a little bit more than this then. We have 2 laps to go, and at the moment, yeah, it's only 2nd through 4th that are within that range. Larkin is only just within it, and Toxic again with fastest lap. He's doing all he can to get himself further into this championship fight. It could be so close by the end of it. 1.5 seconds. If he could put together 2 stellar laps, it's not out of the question that he can still win this race. Campbell is going to have to dig deep here to try and stay in contact with him. So we'll see how this will all unfold, folks. There's a bit of a mistake, and he now drops into the clutches of Ryan, of Jaco, of Tim. They're now round on the back of him. So now Excel and Elu Leonard might go to battle down there on track. Toxic leads by 1.5 seconds. Larkin a penalty, and that could really change things around. Larkin is not at the round that he wanted. Could Toxic claim the championship lead when things are all said and done tonight?
I think after this race it looks dead set in stone that Toxic, and even if he loses the race win here, could still walk away from this one in the championship lead, which is the first time he's done that since the start of the season. One around this has been from Toxic so far. He's still at the moment not on for victory though. Campbell's brought the time back in the middle part of the lap. He's brought about 0.3 of a second back on Toxic. Keeping within window. Larkin off the road coming out of turn 11. He's really pushing to try and keep up with Verstappen, but it's cost him overall in terms of penalties. He will drop behind Zalderman at this point in the race. There is still a lap to go though, and Zalderman is in the thick of a battle with Ryan, Jaco and Tim at the moment. They are dropping Freak in 9th and JD Nolan in 10th. Alex is up into 11th, having restarted this race off the back of the queue of cars. So here we go then, on to the final lap. Toxic crosses the line with a 1.7 second advantage. It's going to have to be a mega final lap from Toxic if he wants to win this race. Campbell and Verstappen doing just enough to get their first 1-2 of the season. Let's see if they can pull that one off. There's a yellow flag in the second sector. I think that is Chill that spun after being down in 15th place. It's all fallen apart for him, unfortunately. I think J. Cole made a mistake in the back run coming out the final corner as well, because Tim is now up into 7th. He gains another place, and this is a good drive from Tim as well. We've not really seen really battle inside the top 10 a lot this season, but he's now within a shot of a top 5 result with Larkin and Ryan's penalties. He could be in there. Larkin, though, is basically pushing Verstappen. Larkin has found some pace at some point in this race. He's all of a sudden all over the back of the Trident cars, but it's not going to be worth anything at this point because he's just got a penalty, so it's not going to work for him in the end. He has the pace all of a sudden, but it's all going to come to nothing. Toxic has taken 4 tenths of a second out of Campbell in the first sector alone. He's really going for it, but it's going to be a second in this last half of the lap, and that's going to be a big push. But Verstappen is dropping just outside of penalty range. Verstappen might not get second here. Trident might just miss out on their first 1-2 of the season, but Campbell looks like he's going to walk away with this one from a victory. Larkin looking to the inside of Verstappen coming down towards turn 12, but he's not quite close. He's going to stick in behind Verstappen coming around the final 2 corners as Matrix picks up a penalty, currently running in 12th place as well. Toxic then round the final corner, on track at least. He will take a double victory, but Campbell is just about close enough to take the race victory in the sprint race. Toxic sets the fastest lap of the race on the final lap. Campbell comes across the line though to win the race, half a second clear of Toxic, and Verstappen on the podium, a double podium for Trident in the end. Zaldimer gets ahead of Larkin by 7/10 of a second. It's all falling apart for Larkin today. It's probably one of his worst rounds of the season, and it's going to drop him out of the championship lead, and it's going to give the championship lead to Toxic. Tim ends up in 6th place ahead of J. Cole 7th. Freak is in 8th ahead of Orion, who drops down to 9th, and Alex and the other Uni Virtuosi car rounds off the top 10. That was a fairly chaotic race at the end, and Campbell just about held on and got the race victory.
Yeah, he just did enough. He's going to be thanking his lucky stars that Lando and Chill brought out that safety car, because otherwise I think he could have been in for a really long day at the office trying to keep within that 3-second range. Toxic on pure pace, as we often see, was the class in the field, but he couldn't quite snatch that double victory. Campbell took advantage. He gets his charge for 3rd in the championship back underway. It's a better round for Trident in the manufacturer's battle with Chill struggling out there. Toxic is the leading point scorer, and now his championship fight is really back underway now. Toxic looking ever stronger now. He now can really chase down this title for the 2nd time running.
First round this season where we've really seen Larkin make crucial mistakes that have cost him points in the championship. We haven't seen that a lot from him this season. He's always been able to capitalise on the mistakes of Toxic, and Toxic, even with picking up penalties, Larkin could not capitalise pace and penalty wise. So Larkin's going to have to bounce back next time out, which will be at Belgium, another completely different circuit to this one. Many overtaking opportunities, high speed track. That is going to be one heck of a race to watch. But it is Campbell who takes, I believe, his 2nd race victory of the season, at least his 2nd sprint race victory of the season, after the sprint race victory in the first round of the season at Bahrain. Campbell then wins ahead of Toxic in 2nd place. Won 1st and 2nd in the feature and the sprint race for Toxic. He can definitely walk away from that one happy, just missing out on the race victory in the end. Verstappen picks up a podium in the 2nd. Trident ahead of Zaldimer in 4th. A good solid round for him once again. Larkin in 5th ahead of Tim 6th. J. Cole 7th. Good recovery after what was a fairly compromised feature race. Freak ends up in 8th place. A great comeback at that safety car restart. Ryan drops to 9th on penalties ahead of Alex, who rounds off the top 10. Pisa Not Maverick weren't in the session, but they cross the line 11th and 12th. Matrix is in 13th ahead of JD Nolan, and QVR Chill, who finishes in 15th place, nearly a lap down. Another disastrous weekend for Chill. 2nd round in a row where he won't really pick up any points at all. When Prema, while Toxic had a great result, that means that Trident, I think, might move further ahead in the championship.
Yeah, they are beginning to really I think they're beginning to find their feet now. Our Trident really starting to make the grounds. Prima were leading by 29 points after the last round, but in the last round, of course, that gap was dramatically cut down, and I think Trident may just overhold them in this round. As for the fight for the lead in the championship, well, I'd say we're back to square one, and it's convenient. We've just hit the halfway mark of this season, and after such a chaotic back and forth fight so far, nowadays, it seems like the 2 drivers that are fighting for it, they'll be pretty much level at this point.
Yeah, completely reset at the front of the championship. That is brilliant going into the 2nd half of the season. We'll have to wait and see if the tracks in the 2nd half of the season suit the likes of Larkin or suit Toxic. We'll have to wait and see, because it seems they're so it seems so up and down between the pair of them. Some tracks really suit Larkin and others really suit Toxic. So I'll have to wait and see. Might have to do some digging, watch the Formula 2 races back and try and figure out who suits what track and see what tracks are coming up, because that is going to be incredible for the rest of the season, the championship fight. But they are now well clear of the battle for third in the championship between the two Trident cars. It does look like it is just between Toxic and Larkin for the rest of the season, barring any sort of crazy races coming up. Belgium next time out, though. What are you expecting for the next round, Aka?
Well, it's very difficult to predict in a championship that has seesawed the way this one has, but I'm expecting some great racing for one at Belgium, one of my favourite tracks on the entire calendar and the favourite of many as well. Expect to see a lot of battling, particularly down on the first lap there. The spectacle of the cars climbing up Radion and down the Kemmel Straight. Expect a lot of bunching up there, so it could be chaotic. And of course, maybe don't rule out any rain. It could definitely rain at Spa, as we've seen both in real life and in the game. So look forward to that as well. And one thing that I think we can guarantee is some high action-packed racing. So keep an eye out for that next week. Spa will be the next round up.
Yeah, the next 3 rounds are going to be incredible to watch. We go to Belgium, then we go to Italy, and then we go to it's coming up. They are going to be some great races to watch. But we are going to round off the stream today, guys. Thank you very much to everyone for tuning in to the stream today. Thank you to all the drivers for once again giving us a great spectacle. A track where, who says you can't overtake at Hungary? That it just goes to prove there are. You can easily overtake around this track. It was an absolutely brilliant race once again today. Thank you, Daka, for joining me in the commentary box once again. It's always a pleasure to commentate alongside you. And from myself and Daka, it is thank you very much, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.